Welcome back for another video. An eventful international break followed by an eventful FA Cup weekend has given us a lot to think about ahead of Gameweek 30 as we head into the business end of the season now. A double Gameweek announcement expected at some point within the next week for Gameweek 33 and also Gameweek 34's blanks. Let's catch up with everything that the experts are doing for this Gameweek and what you need to know. So, Lee Jackson's moved further ahead, top of the Experts League after a score of 57 points. He's now 1.3k in the world. There's 10 experts in the top 10k currently and 35 in the top 50k. Really impressive with lots of chips to play still. And obviously strategy is about to become particularly important at this stage of the season. Honourable mention to Majed with the biggest score in the league of 82 points. So you're probably all wondering what they're doing with the double game weeks, the blanks and obviously the injuries to weigh up. 30% are rolling the transfer this week, 35% making one transfer, 16% making two, and look at that, 19% have activated the wildcard. I had to actually extend the deadline for them to get their responses in for this video because that Haaland injury has obviously proved to be a tipping point for a lot of teams and it's a massive spanner in the works if you've got him. We'll have a look at the experts wildcards in a minute. So who are the most bought and sold players first of all? Unsurprisingly, Haaland's the most sold player this week, with 60% selling him. An awkward landing in the FA Cup game against Bournemouth, possible ankle aversion, and he was leaving the stadium with a protective boot on and using crutches, so yeah, it doesn't look good. They face Leicester in just a couple of days as well. City are in a pretty fortunate position in the sense that they've got Marmoush, who has looked really sharp and he's settling well already. 30% are buying Marmoush, he's only 7.3 mil. We'll have to see what the severity of the Haaland injury actually is. Like if he's out for a while, then it's kind of like Alvarez last season when Haaland was injured. Great value, nailed City forward. Mateta's actually the most bought player though, 39% are buying him before Southampton. The great thing for wildcarders is you can target those fixtures this week. Like you've got Marmoush against Leicester, you've got Mateta against Southampton, and then you can add in the likes of Eze and Sarr against Southampton, who are great options in addition. 20% are buying Sarr, 15% buying Eze. To play devil's advocate for wildcarders, if Haaland's injury is not serious, then I guess Marmoush could be a little bit riskier for expected minutes by the time we get to that predicted double game week 33. Though it is entirely possible that he starts both either way and plays 80 plus minutes realistically. Wood, of course, the other massive injury blow that we've had to deal with, huge ownership, and when asked about him after the FA Cup, Nuno said to follow him, "It's not very good, we miss him and we hope he can join us soon." If you're on a wildcard, then Triple Palace looks completely obvious because of the double game week, or double game weeks potentially. If yours is active, let us know in the comments. Are you on Sarr, Eze, Mateta, or are you on Mateta, one midfielder, and then Munoz? 24% are buying Munoz this week, who's got more points than any defender over the last 6 game weeks. But it is a horrendous double game week 32 from a defender perspective, right? It's Man City away and Newcastle away. And the predicted double game week 33 is much better really, Bournemouth home, Arsenal away. It's all about the combinations though, of course, like Newcastle, they obviously double in 32 as well. So perhaps Burn and Sarr is worse than Munoz and Gordon or Murphy, but it is a close one. So 13% are buying Salah back. It's a shame we'll never get to find out how Haaland versus Salah would have gone in game week 30. Haaland was the absolute perfect upside chasing captain, but that's a major candidate off the table now. As a reminder, here's the predicted Game Week 33 doubles and Game Week 34's blanks. Double Game Week 32 already locked in here with Palace and Newcastle doubling. So in Game Week 33, Arsenal's double could be Ipswich away, Palace home. Villa's would be Newcastle home, Man City away. Palace's would be Bournemouth home, Arsenal away. And lastly, Man City's would be Everton away and Villa home. If those 4 get the double game weeks, then they'll blank immediately afterwards in Game Week 34. So this is something to weigh up, particularly if you've used your free hit already. Like if you've got 10 or 11 doublers, then you're only going to have 4 or 5 that play in Game Week 34. So if you go like that, you're going to need to have loads of roll transfers to get a team over the line. Many of you still got your assistant manager, of course, as well, so that's another incentive to wildcard this week. You can set your team up nicely for the doubles, and you can leave that 3 game week window from Game Week 31 to 33 for the assistant manager. Howe looks like a great option because it's Leicester, and then it's double Game Week 32. But if you want to completely go for it, then there could be 3 or 4 table bonus fixtures for Glasner there. Brighton are exactly 5 places above Palace currently. Plus there's Man City, Newcastle and Arsenal, so maybe 4 table bonus fixtures. As a reminder, if the assistant manager is active and their opponent is 5 or more places above in the league table, then you'll get 10 extra points if they win, or 5 extra if they draw. So on to chips next. So 19% have got their wildcard active now, so about 76% have still got theirs in hand. We're likely to see a huge number of wildcards next week, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out. It's a Saturday deadline for Gameweek 31, so we're actually only a few days away from the next Experts video actually. There's one assistant manager active this week as well, but yeah, it's all about the wildcards. Alex has got his wildcard active, here's his team. It's Raya, Gabriel, Saliba, Vardiol, Sar, Salah, Cliver, Eze, Marmoush, Mateta and Isaac. And on the bench he's got Areola, Conta, Livramento and Gordon. Here's what he had to say. The reason for wildcarding now is my team's a mess and I've got no transfers to fix it. My chip strategy is wildcard 30, triple captain and 32 on Isaac, bench boost in 33 of 12 doublers, so that'd be Isaac to Watkins, Gordon to Rogers and Livramento to Kuzanov, and then free hit 34. In terms of the wildcard team, so goalkeepers and defenders, triple Arsenal seems like an obvious play, with Saka potentially not 100% back yet, and with my spending power, 100.2 million, being quite low, I find it difficult to fit him in regardless. Areola's got Southampton home in Gameweek 33 and he's a cheap backup. Vardiol looks the most nailed for Man City, and along with cheap bench options like Contra and Livramento, who double in Gameweek 33. In terms of midfielders and forwards, I've got to keep the GOAT in this draft, and he's got Leicester away in 33, so I'm more than happy to keep Salah. Cliver, a template pick, but looking further ahead, he may double in Gameweek 36, along with my triple Villa and Man City. I decided to go triple Palace attack with their back-to-back doubles, and hope for it to rain goals. They also have strong fixtures for the remainder of the season. Marmoush also a no-brainer for what looks like a Haaland injury suffered in the FA Cup. Isaac will likely be triple captain in 32, unless disaster strikes, in which case I'd use it on the double in 36. Thanks for sending in, Alex, best of luck on the wildcard. FPL Spaceman also has his wildcard active. He's got some elite finishes in the last couple of years, and he was number 1 in the world in FPL Review's massive data model rankings. He's taken a very different direction with his wildcard as well, so I'm very glad I asked him. Here's Johnny's team. It's Henderson and Pope as his keepers, Gabriel, Saliba, Livramento, Nico Williams and Vardiol in defence, Clivert, Palmer, Eze, Salah and Sarr in midfield, João Pedro, Evan Nilsson and Isaac up top. Here's what he had to say. I had hoped to be able to roll my transfer this week and wildcard in 31, given my team is in good shape, but now with the Haaland injury and the FA Cup results leaving us with more certainty on where the fixtures might be rearranged and in other scenarios, I've decided to bring the wildcard forward to Gameweek 30. I still have my assistant manager chip left, as well as the bench boost and the free hit, so I think rolling a transfer in Gameweek 30 or 31 will be quite valuable to allow me to change managers around in Gameweek 35 to 38. I could aim to play it now for double Gameweek 32 and 33, but it'll be easier for me to transition from a deep squad to the bench boost to freeing up funds for the assistant manager than the other way around, I think. Bench boost 32 versus 33 is quite close, but I think I prefer the setup of the squad to aim for the nearer week, which allows me to use transfers in Gameweek 33 on, for example, Haaland and Saka, who could be great options again by then, but probably won't be on my wildcard. I'll likely leave an Arsenal spot open for Saka rather than tripling up right away, even though they've got good fixtures and a double in 33. So that means the plan for now is wildcard 30, bench boost 32, free hit 34, and assistant manager in 35 or 36. Triple ups on Newcastle and Palace for double Gameweek 32 is pretty obvious then. I'd like to have found space for Mateta. With my low team value, I think I might have to settle for Eze and Sarr instead. Double Arsenal defence and leaving space for Saka is probably how I'll play it for them, as mentioned above. Man City is tricky as I'm not sure there's many great options. Vardiol will likely be in, with a plan to move for Haaland in Gameweek 33 if his injuries cleared up. I could start with Marmoush, but without certainty on Haaland's timeline, I think there's better options up front, which are also cheaper, and I don't have lots of budget. I haven't actually picked any Aston Villa guys, despite their likely double in 33 and Southampton away in Gameweek 32. Watkins is too expensive for me, and I think I prefer to start with Bournemouth guys Cliver and Evan Nilsson, who have better fixtures in Gameweek 30 to 32, and can then be benched in 33. I may well bring someone in like Rogers or Asensio in Gameweek 33 with my transfers, when I switch to premiums from Salah and Palmer to Saka and Haaland for example though. Still lots of tinkering to do, but that's the general plan. Best of luck everyone. Thanks for sending in Johnny as well, good luck with the wildcard. Gameweek 30 captaincy next then. It's really a shame, as I say, we'll never know how Salah versus Haaland would have gone, because until the injury happened, it was actually 60-40 among the experts, just in favour of Salah, And now it's 94% Salah, 5% Marmoush, and one expert's captain in Isak. I suppose Marmoush does still provide that upside opportunity, and presumably he'd get penalty duties as well, right? He's taken 9 penalties in his career, he's just missed 1. Here's how FPL review projections look. It's Salah top with 7.1, Isak on 6.2, Marmoush 6.1, and then Evan Nelson and Cliver on 5.7. So if you are selling Haaland and you don't have Isak or Marmoush, then Marmoush I guess is the upside pick because they're dead even on projections here. So if you're looking for the upside, go Marmoush, otherwise Isak's the safe pick. Onto the expert team for Gameweek30 then. A few changes to the team. We've actually got Fabianski in goal here and Pickford on the bench. I know realistically Ariel probably starts, but if you've got the combination, then why not play the fixture just in case Potter changes it around. It's Vardy, Gabriel, Munoz in the back 3, Semenyo, Palmer, Cliver and Salah in midfield, Marmoush and Isak up top. So yeah, Wood drops to the bench with the injury and Marmoush joins the team. Really solid team this week, albeit obviously really light bench. We'll probably see a massive shake up to the team next game with all the double Gameweek players joining the team, and I guess the likes of Bournemouth assets and certainly that entire bench swapping out of the team. If your wildcard's active or you're thinking about using it, I did post a wildcard video last night that's got some food for thought in there. So onto the experts' final thoughts and tips for Gameweek30. Here's what they had to say to you. FPL Fady says, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. A bit deflated to see the injury to Haaland and the FA Cup games produce almost the fewest number of doubles and blanks they could have. My long-term plan was to wildcard 31, but the events of the week and 4 yellow flag players make wildcard 30 more attractive, especially as the doubling teams have got nice fixtures this week as well. FPL Sizz says, Palace winning in the Cup means I'll likely place assistant manager in 31. Wood's injury speeds up bringing in Mateta. The only downside is that I'll be going against Eze with Glasner. FPL Patton says, I left enough money in the bank to do Wood to Mateta, but it depends on how fit both players look, as Wood seems to be out for a while, but Mateta didn't look convincing in the FA Cup. I could just roll the transfer instead, or try to get a Palace midfielder instead. And lastly, FPL Kipkata says, Mateta will be coming in this week for Wood, as I'm building towards 6 Newcastle and Palace players for double Gameweek 32, and I had to decide between Munoz and Newcastle defence for Trent with my second free transfer. I'm leaning with Munoz as I think Brentford could easily score and get something against Newcastle. Captaining Marmoush this week, as long as I'm confident he starts against Leicester. It's a risk, but nothing to lose at this point. Thanks very much for watching. Do hit like before you go, and make sure you subscribed as well. It's a wildcard special coming in Gameweek 31. See you soon for the next one.